of Sonoma Raceway. I would like to welcome you all to this special event and special announcement. And I am thrilled to announce Ross Chastain, driver of the number 91 for DGM Motorsports, for the DoorDash 250 on June 10th, the first ever NASCAR Xfinity Series race here. So, Ross, welcome, and yeah, thrilled to have you make this announcement.
Yeah, so it's all came together where we could do this through just a relationship I formed a few years ago by just trying to be a better road course racer, and that started with just going online and researching Google, just a simple Google search of driving schools for COTA. That was where I first wanted to get some laps before the first Cup race there in 2021, and we haven't looked back since. With days at Skip Barber was what I found, and we've continued that relationship. So in coming to Skip Barber driving schools, you'll meet Anthony, and so when I met Anthony, it was a kind of a natural friendship formed pretty quickly, and we started to talk about how we could kind of do more than just me come once or twice a year to these tracks that we race at in NASCAR. And he invited me over to Road Atlanta, so I did that later that year in 21, and we've continued that with days like today here at Sonoma. So for me, not a road course racer, not a guy that grew up turning right. As simple as it sounds, turning left actually seems really natural to me, but turning right doesn't. So Skip Barber's been the way that I've tried to be better at turning right, and now I'll get to do that in the first ever Xfinity race here at Sonoma, ahead of the Cup race. So June 10th and 11th, I get to run both races.
So you've raced here in the Cup Series. Is driving this track any different in an Xfinity car than it is in a Cup car?
You know, definitely every race vehicle, when I push it to the limits, I find out unique things about it, and it responds different. So I was able to run the truck race last year with Nice Motorsports, so that was good, and I think I'll have more notes off of that, the truck race last year for the Xfinity car, than I will the Cup car, especially the current car. The old car, the past of the one we last ran in 2021 was more similar, but a lot more power and quite a bit of different, just fundamental setups and the way the car's handled. So my truck notes and truck kind of philosophies will probably be more in line with the Xfinity car.
So you're saying the Xfinity car is closer to the Cup car than the truck cars?
No, I would say the Xfinity and truck are more similar.
Okay.
The truck and the Xfinity are the most similar to each other.
What was the hardest thing you had to learn about turning right?
So I'm still learning, so I don't even know. I mean, I know what I've gotten better at, but the simple art of looking right, turning right, braking to the right, feeling the G-forces go to the left versus to the right. So I've ran every lap of my life from the time I was 12 years old, and I first ran at my local short track. I turned left, and from then until my first road course race was Mosport in the Truck Series in 2013. I didn't do anything again until 2015 with some Xfinity races where they went when I ran full time there. So as simple as just the G-forces, feeling myself slide and get pushed over to the left.
Ross, how different is it, racing at all these different road courses on the Cup schedule? Sonoma's obviously its own beast, but does any of that transfer from the road courses that you guys race at?
Yeah, for me, just with such limited laps on road courses, each one of them just helps each other. So even though, I did, like I said a minute ago, I did Road Atlanta, NASCAR, proper NASCAR Cup Series has never raced there. The IMSA divisions do. But I just wanted to, familiarize myself with more corners and more apex curbing and more runoff curbing, and just have a better working knowledge like I do for circle tracks. So yeah, they all help each other in my mind.
Do you get any sim time here to get acquainted with this place?
I do, yes, so Chevrolet and GM provide, many hours for us, and, we work out ahead of time to especially at these types of places, where your typical oval will just kind of do the week of maybe more. I do iRacing a lot, so iRacing is very valuable for me, just to get the muscle memory of lefts and rights, for sure. So yeah, the GM sim though is big, but then I want to take it a step further and actually come see it. I mean, even as simple as flying in and driving out here, when I come back for the race, it takes a little bit of the nerve off of, I know where to go. I mean, the first time I ever raced at Sonoma, I had never been here in person, and I flew in the morning of the race after running the Truck Series in Gateway in St. Louis. We won that race, and I caught a team flight out with the pit crew. We came and I started my first ever lap at Sonoma was in the Cup race, so that was a pretty wild experience. I had done sim time before that, but there's nothing like getting on the real track in a real race car like I'm doing today.
But there's a mental aspect of real racing. When NASCAR guys very first came here, they literally taped a map to their dashboard because they would get lost on the racetrack and couldn't tell the crews what turn they were stuck on. Mentally, how do you get the racetrack imprinted in your head while you're also trying to feel out the car?
I still print a map on my steering wheel right in the center on the little cap, the little padded cap. We put one right there and I can glance down and see. It's because there's been times in my career where I was, like you said, it's crazy to think, but in the last 10 years, I've done the same thing as what guys did 50 years ago. And couldn't tell you what corner I was in, was setting up, braking on the straightaway, and I thought I was gonna make a right turn and that was a left. And I've realized that I have to put more work in if I'm gonna be better at this and have a shot to win. So I still print the maps out, but the simulation time is invaluable. When you can run it and visually it looks just like when we race here. The only thing, if I was running simulator today, it wouldn't have the hills as green and beautiful as they are right now.
Ross, is part of it too that you only get 20 minutes of on-track time for Cup, and then you qualify? Is that part of the reason you're running this Xfinity Series race as well, is the limited on-track time in the Cup car? I'm assuming that you want to get a full hour practice on Friday and then a race on Saturday. Is that part of what led to this decision?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've wanted to continue racing in the lower, the other series. I don't even like to call them lower, but Xfinity and trucks, as I've became full-time in Cup. And I've been kind of hit or miss on my road course racing and ovals for sure. Missing more races than I'm running. And this is the last year that I can run more than 5 races. So I want to take full advantage of it. So when I met and really got to know Mario Gazon last year, right ahead of the Coda race, we hit it off and we had a really good race. And we said, we're going to run all the road course races. And then coming into this year, we said, well, we want to do it a little better. We want to be a little better funded. We want to, know that we have more of the parts and pieces we need. And we still don't have all of them, but it was a real conscious effort by Mario, everybody at DGM, and myself and my group to try to put together the best Xfinity program we could. We always want a little bit more. We want to have a few more shiny toys and bells and whistles, but yes, the main goal for me is to be better prepared for Sunday. That's ultimately where, if I don't go fast on Sunday, none of this matters. But I get to do it with some really cool people like Mario and Skip Barber that make the Fridays and Saturdays just so fun. And when I'm in those moments and I'm driving those cars, or I'm out here today driving the school cars, it's what I love. And so if I can just be driving a car on any given day, then that's what I want to be doing.
And then what are your thoughts about the stacked Xfinity field you guys are going to face here? I mean, we've already got some good Cup names in this thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we all want laps, right? It's not just 2 road course races on the schedule and you can just kind of get your way through it in a Cup race. It's 7, and I guess it's still 7. we laughed. My first full-time year in Cup in 2021 was the first time they went from 2 to 7 road course races. So we thought that might be a bad omen, but I knew I had to go to school, and that's why you see more guys now doing it. I think it was just there's so many races, you got to put some real effort into it.
And then lastly for me, how important is it, do you think, that the Xfinity Series is finally coming to Sonoma Raceway for the first time? I mean, this is something we've never seen here before. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, they're tying it together with Portland, right? So I think it's back-to-back weeks, so they're going to use the same cars, so that makes it a little easier on the teams. I mean, you know, part of me does kind of waver on my thoughts about is it the right thing to be trekking all the way across the country? But hey, this is big time auto racing, and we're all big boys and girls, and let's go race. Let's go race where they want us. So the track wants us. I think the fan base out here, you know, wants more racing. They don't want just Cup on the weekend and ARCA, right? They want more. So that's what's going to be so cool about June 10th and 11th is there's going to be more access, more racing, more cars on track than a lot of Sonoma Raceway fans maybe have ever seen, and they'll get to see, you know, my competitors and me more than ever.
You're going to Chicago soon for the street race. Is the street race different than running on a course like this, and how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, it's a little harder to get track time around the streets of Chicago right now. That was actually a question that the driver group had for NASCAR, was kind of when were they going to put the final walls and barricades up, and it's going to be last minute. So even going up a week ahead of time wouldn't be worth it because they won't have the walls out. They can't start shutting down streets, right? It's a working, living city. And so there's really no point to go because you just won't get the visuals of knowing where stuff is. So it's, I don't know. I don't know what to expect there. I'm going to lean on my boss, Justin Marks, a lot. He has done that before. He has promoted those kind of races. He's raced them. And I'm going to lean on him a lot and ask a lot of questions as we get closer and we get a, you know, kind of an idea of how the track's going to be. We have a working knowledge of it now, but it's going to be a lot of learn during the weekend in practice and really throughout the entire race. And no DJ Diesel there. So no DJ Diesel in Chicago. That's all. A lot of people might have that confused, but Shaq's coming here.
Okay.
Any other questions? Good. All right. Well, Ross, thank you so much for your time and being here. We're very excited about the announcement, and I know that there's someone who's looking forward to talking with you here, Vern Glenn from KPIX. So with that, if nobody has any other questions, we will adjourn this part of the announcement. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.